What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Thor. His name is ShadowFax. ShadowFax the pony. Gandalf's ShadowFax. There you go. His opponent today in the blue color, no, red color, playing as Poseidon. His name is 3antozz. We have the map Anatolia for you ladies and gentlemen, you fine folk. Anatolia, I feel like we don't get to see this matchup very often. The reason being, whenever we see Anatolia in tournament, it's generally selected by a player. And the general consensus with Anatolia, though I think it is wrong, is that Isis is tier 1, S tier, S plus tier on this map. I think this consensus is actually wrong. But because of that, whenever we see Anatolia, we often see Isis getting picked. So we might see Isis versus Poseidon, we might see Isis versus Zeus, we might see Isis versus Odin, but it's generally always Isis in those tournaments. So we get lucky sometimes where we get to see some of the other matchups on Anatolia on the ranked ladder. And I'm excited to see what these guys are going to come up with. I believe that Thor is arguably in that S plus tier with Isis, with Zeus, with Set. I think it's very. I think Thor is very good in this matchup for sure. So we'll see exactly what ShadowFax is going to do. There is a build which allows the Thor player to get to the classical age at about 5 minutes with 18 fishing ships, which makes Thor the strongest to get going out of all the civilizations. The only other civilization that can really compete with that would be Fuji, and we don't have Fuji on the base game, so you're not going to see it. So we'll see exactly how it's going to go. We've got it's a fairly standard build here from 3antozz thus far, though there is a real action. I'm lying. This is not a real build. This is not your average build from 3antozz at all. He is going for a fast classical age. This is what we call metagaming, ladies and gentlemen, and I love it. He is going for an Ares rush on the bottom side of the map. He's actually scouted that there's nothing over here, so it might be completely fine. ShadowFax is actually over on the top side of the map here, getting his second dock down. So ShadowFax, in a way, has used his luck, I would say, to get this dock up on this side here and kind of play around it. 3antozz here ShadowFax getting up his house here, trying not to get supply blocked in this game. But this might force 3antozz into a different strategy here. He is going to be sneaking a dock up on the bottom side here. But if I saw both the docks on that on that top side, I would say, great, I'm just going to send my Colossus down here, take whatever dock that ShadowFax tries to put up over there and just fish that bottom side. Maybe cause a little bit of a hassle on the top side, but say call it a day and just take that win where it is. So we'll see how it's going to go. But at this point, ShadowFax hasn't even gone down to the bottom side of the map. Ulfsark is nearly picked off, actually. 23 HP remaining here as the fishing ships are still coming out very quickly. A couple more dwarves to get built, and then I'm sure we will see the next age coming through for ShadowFax, as he is looking like he's going to be very close to a 5-minute advance time. Thank you so much for the 2 months, Caesar. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. As 3antozz is indeed going through Ares. He's got his hippocampus out already. He's going to be a little bit sad that he's on the bottom side of the water. He's no longer making fishing ships, which I think is a slight mistake, but he's making some docks down the bottom, the top side of the map. I think you can continue to build these fishing ships, and instead of having like 5 villages on gold here, just put them all over onto wood and get as many as you can out, get all your docks up, and then go for this. So you can still get these docks up. You really don't need those villages on gold past 150 gold for per scene, or I guess 200 gold for hand axe. But we'll see what 3antozz is going to get here in this game as Freya is coming through. And we are also seeing I think it's a very, very weird game we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. I am surprised. This is a 440 advance time from 3antozz. Arguably not fast enough here. I would suggest that normally 2 docks would be up already for ShadowFax. He would already have a Herser out, being able to come over here and defend. More Herser would be coming in. And this initial Cyclops, this initial Cyclops is going to pick up the Ulsark and say, get out of here. No dock on the bottom side here for ShadowFax. 3antozz here gets a big victory there. As the trireme moving in, going to start hitting ShadowFax as he's going to be in full panic. He's going to be making himself some longboats over here straight into his docks. He's brought his fishing ships back in here and he's just going to be holding on for just a little bit here as the dock gets denied. 3antozz, is he building fishing ships anymore? No, he's not. Is he got Poseidon? No, he's not. So I would still say a slight misplay from 3antozz to not be building those fishing ships at this point. You're arguably not going to be able to win the top side of the water here, kind of no matter what. But you can put some pressure on and force some units out, and that's going to be enough to give you your advantage back to fish up all of that bottom side of the map. But we're still not seeing those fishing ships coming in. Bit sad about that, but what can you do? Now ShadowFax here is sending the Valkyrie and the Herser down to the bottom side. Might be trying to get that dock up over here as soon as he can. We've got ourselves 3 docks, 3 longboats here for ShadowFax, and 3antozz on the other hand here, he's got himself 8. So this is a big advantage actually for 3antozz, as I think he's definitely in a better position than I would have expected here in this game on this map against Thor. But he's making it work thus far. Nice micro here from ShadowFax, but 3antozz is return microing very nicely himself. There he goes, big pull here as these triremes, that's what they're called, trying to do their best here. They are still sitting underneath the dock, so it's still a very difficult fight to be taking, but he does still have an advantage where that's concerned. One Valkyrie raid now going to do a ton of damage to 3antozz's villages here as the forest fire comes down on a very small forest, but a forest nonetheless, and it does seemingly look like 3antozz has lost all of his ships. And I mean, yes, he's forced out a whole bunch of longboats, but he did also himself make a whole bunch of trireme. And we'll see, has he started to get those fishing ships? No, it still hasn't got those fishing ships out the bottom of the map. We've got the Cyclops coming back home. The town center going to be returning or changing the focus fire onto that Herser as he's going to be retreating away. And we'll see how this all goes. We've got the trireme retreating back. ShadowFax here, he's got a good healthy amount of dwarves out. For some reason he has a gather over here, and another reason he's sending dwarves onto this gold mine to long distance mine. I can't explain that, as now we see ShadowFax trying to push back through. He does have the ship advantage by a very small amount, 7 ships to 5 ships, and we'll see if that's going to be kind of enough here to make to force 3antozz to stop making those trireme. And it does actually look like that is exactly what's happening. Is ShadowFax still building more? It looks like he is still building longboats from one dock, as we see those militia coming in here to finish off that Herser. Nice play from 3antozz to get that happening. I'm going to continue moving around here, getting some damage done. So see the docks coming up on this position now for ShadowFax as he's still trying to expand his fishing economy. And the Herser here, Bjorn, one friend. He's found a relic. What did he find? A pair of golden lions. I always like this relic. I think this relic is super underappreciated. But if you let 3antozz have it, then I say, why did you pick it up in the first place? What's happening here? Theseus gets it. Theseus takes it. Bit of a mistake there from ShadowFax. He had the relic. He had the OP relic, and he said, "Nah, okay, I don't want it anymore." as the longboats seemingly have retreated back just a little bit here. And they'll push back in shortly as we see a second town center coming up for ShadowFax. Because of how weird this game has started, I actually think this town center might be correct. Normally I say don't get a town center, a second town center on Anatolia because you've all your fish economy, you can do a whole lot more damage. But I think maybe, just maybe, this one here is not so bad in this position. So we'll see if it's going to work for him or not. 3antozz, on the other hand, he's making himself hoplites, lots of food in the bank. Lots of gold as well, 68 population here. As he's going to be checking out this town center. We see the trireme moving in here, and they're just going to be pushed back. And we're kind of in a weird kind of, we're like pseudo back into like a, where we would have been had both these players played kind of normal here. But we have a couple of trireme being made by 3antozz, and if ShadowFax wants to push 3antozz off of this water, he's going to have to commit in here. And he could do that. He could just make a whole bunch of units and commit, but he's not doing it just yet. We've got ShadowFax getting his Dwarven Armory up. We'll be getting himself up to the next age very shortly, I'm sure. 3antozz, on the other hand, he's also very close. He's got himself an armory. How's his economic upgrades looking? Hand axe, pickaxes come through. If we check out the economic upgrades for ShadowFax, he also has hand axe and pickaxe. So both players have some decent upgrades there. But 3antozz committing very, very hard onto the water here. And, I mean, maybe it's worth it. He is winning this bottom side, but building all of these trireme on the top side might not be as valuable as you might think, and he might get punished on the land, maybe lose this town center or something like that could happen, as ShadowFax is coming through Skadi, and I'm sure he's got his eyes set on controlling the middle of this map, because on Anatolia, all of the gold mines are in the middle. If they get controlled, you win the game. So you do not want to allow your opponent to control the middle of the map, as Theseus does put an end to that Valkyrie's life there. As the longboats here, ShadowFax not paying attention. Good micro from 3antozz, taking advantage of that. Will indeed be able to finish off those longboats there and put a lot of very, very good pressure onto this top side of the water. ShadowFax will have heroic age though, so he might be able to get some dragon ships out, the siege ships for Norse, and try and fight back against these trireme. But then again, he might also be like, look, there's some hunt in the middle of the map. I'm just going to give up on water completely and just 3 town center boom here and be completely fine, because you've got such an investment into the water that doesn't matter. I can put all of that investment you put into the water, I can put that into farms, and we can come out roughly equal, if not in front for the Thor player, because he's got Skadi, he's got Winter Harvest, and while I think the fish with with Sultan Forest still gather faster than villagers on farms with like fully upgraded farms with Winter Harvest, I don't think it's, I think it's pretty close, and I think the Norse player is not going to be unhappy about that position. And now we see 3antozz retreating back home here. He's about to advance. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dionysus here, but I do think that in this specific situation, many other situations might be different. Especially on this map, we would normally see Dionysus, but I do think Aphrodite here is correct, and we are seeing that from 3antozz. He's kind of won the water. He doesn't need the Skylar help. He just needs Curse, he just needs Nemean Lion, and he needs to play for some sort of the late game here with that Divine Blood, which is so very, very strong. So we see the Hippolyta popping out here as the population comes through. And ShadowFax is going to try and continue getting somewhere in this game. As the dock hit for ShadowFax, is he producing anything out of it? No, he's not. He's gotten himself his 3 town centers. He's got a couple of units over here checking out this town center. He wants to build it, it seems, as he's putting some good pressure onto these now medium hoplites for 3antozz. We see them coming through. We've got the raiding cavalry here getting a little bit of damage done. The Frost Giant here taking down the Toxotes very, very quickly. But ShadowFax, can't really fight underneath this town center, as you do see a second town center in for 3antozz. Still no attempt at this one. Now, normally I would say it's a bit of a mistake, but just considering the situation, maybe not. It's making sure you get the town center and get the control of the middle of the map. This gold mine's going to be expiring very shortly. Maybe a hill fort over here, grab this town center, could be very, very good. But ShadowFax does not have the population at this point, or production, I should say, at this point to really make units. And he is currently making cavalry. He's going to be foreseeing those Hypaspis coming out. So he knows he has to make cavalry to counter those, and he's just predicting it a little bit as he's still making a Huskar, so he does have to be a little bit careful here as the final touches to the water seemingly has... well, no, it hasn't happened yet. Not happening just yet. And you see that 3antozz here. He's got a nice little concave doing a little bit of damage. The Atlanta is out. And while I would say ShadowFax probably wins this fight, I'd say he probably doesn't want to fight just yet. Maybe he would prefer to get those production facilities out. Now he is at full population. I'm still surprised not more production has come through. If you look at what 3antozz has got compared to ShadowFax, he's got himself 4 archery ranges, 3 military academies, and a stable. So he's definitely got the production advantage here. Every single unit that is currently dying for 3antozz is getting reproduced. So while he's not trading efficiently, he's able to defend for near eternity here. It's now ShadowFax retreating back. Seemingly has a bit of an advantage. He does still have Frost, and maybe we see the town center grab. Yes, that's exactly what ShadowFax is doing. Does he have a market? No, he doesn't. I would love to see just one Ulfsark coming into that corner there, set that market up, get a couple of... You probably don't even need to auto-queue caravans. Just queue up 3 or 4 of them so that you can have 3 or 4 caravans for a potential Ragnarok here. Though maybe Ragnarok is not the go here in this matchup, but then again, with the gold mines as exposed as they are, I feel like you have to rag here most of the time, even if you've got no fish. I feel like Ragnarok is just such a power move, considering all you have to do is control gold mines and corners of the map, and you win. You don't actually have to go straight to where your opponent's most strong. Now, town center here. 2,000 HP in, coming up very, very quickly. Will we see that Frost getting thrown down? Looks like not just yet. The Hoplites coming in, but the throwing axe, I'm going to turn, get that damage done. We see those Huskar coming through, and this is so good. All you have to do as Norse against this Hoplite Toxotes army, once you have the Huskar, is just send your Huskar in onto the Toxotes, and then the micro becomes very, very difficult for the Greek player. The Greek player needs to avoid targeting the Huskar. They have 50% bonus of 50% armor against the Pierce. So, I mean, they just don't take damage at all where that's concerned. But ShadowFax is sitting in that problem which I was talking about before, of just not enough production here. In fact, he's not even producing from these buildings for whatever reason, and he's actually getting pushed back as you see the Frost getting forced here. And if he gets the town center up, great, but then he's still going to be greeted by potentially Artemis here, and that's going to be able to get this town center back, it would seem, as one stray villager is down here already for 3antozz, looking to make some side buildings for those stables and all of that good stuff. We see another hill fort coming up on this position. I would actually prefer to see these throwing axemen building longhouses here instead of the hill fort, but he's getting that up. We'll see if he's going to be able to do anything with that one or not. Now 3antozz pretty much just has to retreat. I'm surprised he didn't ceasefire, especially when he saw the hill fort. But maybe 3antozz is going to save his ceasefire to take his town center back a little bit later, or delay the Ragnarok, potentially block a Thimble Winter. All great options. Oh, he went Ares. Who goes Ares against Norse? Ah. I'm good at this. I'm good at this thing. All right. Toxotes. Nice little choke point here for 3antozz, as there's not really a lot of Huskar. If you have Huskar, the choke point does nothing. Now we see the Frost Giant here so fast. I think it is very, if you're going to micro in these fights and actually be watching these fights, it is well worth it to be retreating your myth units away from the opponent's heroes and just saying, well, I'm not going to leave them near them, and then the heroes click and you pull them back and then you try and kill them and then yada yada yada, trying to keep those units as alive as possible. As ShadowFax is still kind of bashing his head into what 3antozz has got here. We've got 160 population, no fortified town centers. He does have a market that is set up now. Random relic here, Thundercloud Shawl would actually be a big help here in this game, as we're starting to see those armory upgrades coming through for ShadowFax very slowly. And he is going Balder. There's going to be a big Ragnarok that's going to come through for ShadowFax, but you got to make yourself Ox Caravan. You have to make yourself Ox Caravan. We've got the villagers now over on this position here and on this position. This is actually a very big mistake from ShadowFax to be allowing this. He's simply just fighting 3antozz instead of sitting on these positions here, and he didn't have those. He didn't have that under control at all. As now we've got villagers moving up onto this gold mine. The dwarves here, long distance mining for whatever reason, and 3antozz is going to steal some gold away from ShadowFax, as we're now seeing the throwing axeman come over here and be like, oh, there's somebody mining gold here. 3,000 gold's gone. Maybe I made a mistake there. Oh well. And we see Artemis now coming through for 3antozz as the Toxotes doing their darnest here to hold on. Now we've got the Huskal coming around the back and I'll try and take down these Toxotes here. And here come the Huskal, the Ulfsark going after these villages as best as they can. But ShadowFax is doing his best. He's getting himself fortified town centers. He is making Ox Caravans. Let's go. Let's go, Ox Caravan. The thing is, while the Ragnarok now is going to be completely strong, going to be good, really good, he could just make fire giants and be able to hold. But maybe best would be wait for the earthquake to come through from 3antozz, and then after that, class your Ragnarok. But you might not realize that Mythic Age is incoming here for 3antozz and misfire a little bit early. But yeah, the big problem is going to be once this gold mine expires, really what does 3antozz do for gold? It's this gold mine, right? But he's not going to be able to get it that easily. We do see these units moving in onto this position here, looking for something. There's the earthquake here hitting the hill fort, hitting the town center. Both will seemingly fall here. As now ShadowFax can think about, well, do I rag now? Do I wait? Am I getting army upgrades? Not really. But 3antozz is obviously going to be able to have those Haspists out to do a lot of damage, a lot of damage. Now the fire giant wandering over here. Take these bad boys down as well. Oh, and the rag was clicked here for ShadowFax, so he jumps up to 351 population here, which is so much population. We're starting to see the towers getting thrown up by 3antozz. He's got himself guard towers. He's got himself no upgrades in terms of masons or architects. It's a big problem for him. He's only got himself 450 gold in the bank, but the mark coming up in this corner is really smart to start a trade route. He's got himself 4 donkey caravans here as the sentry tower is coming down for ShadowFax. He's got a lot of gold, a lot of wood and gold in the bank, so he's going to be able to spread that out on the map and take his town center back very quickly here and finish off this location. But that will be units he has to kill through as well. There's going to be all these militia that are here as the heroes of Ragnarok are coming through to take these out. These Huskal in the back, tanking nicely, even though they are Huskal, doing their darnest. And we see the temple getting taken out here as well. Over here, these towers trying to come up, but a Polyphemus has been made by 3antozz to try and take them down, disallowing those towers, as we see actually getting deleted, so the Polyphemus can wander through. Looks like ShadowFax not really paying attention here, losing a lot of these units, kind of throwing them away in a way. But he does have the Ox Caravans. They're making a little bit of gold for him. He doesn't have many of them. I would have liked to see 4 or 5 instead of 2. But what can you do? He does have fishing ships, 2 fishing ships. So he's got a mighty economy of 4 economic units. Very good. Now the heroes of Ragnarok crashing through. You're going to be getting greeted by these Apaspists. 3antozz here, he probably can still sell resources. Oh no, it's pretty low actually. So he's in a very, very difficult position. Lots of villagers still alive though, still making himself these trade caravans that are going to be netting himself. How much gold are they getting? 22 gold, so every trip that they make it back to the market is roughly worth 1 Apaspist, which is super value. As we see those heroes of Ragnarok moving in, they're going to be retreating back. The villagers here running away from this gold mine, instead deciding to make towers to try and hold on. And what is ShadowFax really doing here is the question. See, the big thing about this is if you say you had, I don't know, say you had 10 Ox Caravans during this process, your opponent just sold all their resources to get gold in order to stay alive. You can buy food for 33 gold and then repopulate your economy very, very quickly. We are seeing dwarves getting made, which is whatever, and we have 4 town centers for ShadowFax to rebuild his economy, and he's not really losing these units very quickly at all. So very, very nice repopulation here for ShadowFax. 3antozz has got his gold set up though, so we are still in a bit of a weird position where 3antozz is kind of still alive, and he just needs to get some army out and try and push back. But ShadowFax can't really make any serious movement with his units because of these towers. Because we don't have any baluster out, it's really, really hard to push in. And it is also Poseidon, who's got militia. So finishing off 3antozz's Poseidon here is going to be very, very difficult, as we are seeing these villagers making a break for this gold mine. But the fire giant sabots them as he is wandering over here just to make sure that nothing is going on. But Fire Giant here getting taken down by the Hippolyta, by the Atlanta, and soon to be by the Polyphemus as well. So Fire Giant getting out of here, and now we see ShadowFax still trying to push through. I like killing the houses. Always good value in killing off houses. You not only do 50 wood worth of damage, but you also deal about 14 extra wood worth of damage on those houses because they have to rebuild the house. So every time you see a house worth 50 wood, it's actually not worth 50 wood. It's worth about 64 wood. It takes 14 seconds to build. And we see the docks getting taken down. I like this play here from ShadowFax. If there's no actual units over here, this is or ships over there, then it's actually really big value to do that. And now we see the Apaspist reigning supreme over these heroes of Ragnarok, as 3antozz is able to push through this fairly easily. He's got his trade route sorted now, it would seem. Needs some more houses and he's going to be fine. But ShadowFax on the other hand, he's back up to 18 villages on food. He could have repopulated these fishing ships a little bit, but decided against it. We do have Salt Amphora here for 3antozz, so these fishing ships are worth quite a bit at this point. And ShadowFax now has to give up some ground. And, I mean, this could be the time which 3antozz needs to regain his town center. And we'll see, is ShadowFax going to have to sack that? Or will he be able to defend it, is the big, big question here. As these Apaspist over here doing their best, but they're getting sniped down. They are champion Apaspist as well, so nice job by 3antozz to get up to that tech there. And he has got his houses back up. His units have been reproduced over here, and there is still... Oh god. there is still this very, very naughty villager situation over here for 3antozz, and he could very easily start some side builds on this position. We're still seeing ShadowFax trying to fight this. If he had champion cavalry here, he'd be able to easily push back, but the throwing axemen, they're decent so long as they don't have units attacking him, but otherwise, that's it. So you see a bit of a raid. Oh, that's a lot of dead villagers there as ShadowFax comes in and gets some good picks. There are villagers over here as well that ShadowFax could be thinking about raiding. How's his scouting going? Okay, so he sees there's a wood line here. He knows this wood line's gone. He sees this wood line here. He knows this wood line's gone. He knows there's a wood line here. So he knows where all the wood lines are. And this is something that I don't think anybody thinks about. But like raiding wood at about, I would say about the 25 to 30 minute mark, if I would say so, is actually really, really strong because you know where they all are. You know that they've moved to possibly an unsafe wood at that point. You can start hitting that and being very, very annoying with just a couple of units, a handful of units, and you can do a lot of damage where that's concerned. As ShadowFax is trying to limit the amount of units that are out here, but remember, we know exactly what position 3antozz is in. He's got himself a decent trade route. He's getting himself coinage. He's also getting this gold mine under control. Fortress coming out. We might even see a market reposition here from 3antozz to get a slightly stronger trade route, slightly more gold income. And we'll see how that's going to happen as the champion throwing axeman retreating away here. We've got the Atlanta swinging around, trying to finish this one off. He will get picked off very quickly. Atlanta does like 54 damage or something to the fire giant there. That's so much. Maybe it's 44 damage. 56? Yeah, 44 damage. Very good. 3antozz is very, very calmly and collectively cleaning up this Norse army of ShadowFax, and he just does not have the food economy here, it would seem, to really survive and make units that he needs to make. He's no longer making trade. Well, he's making trade from this market over here. We do have villagers now sneaking down here. Will ShadowFax notice this? This is why you get this upgrade in the tower. You want to get yourself signal fires. If you had signal fires, this marker would spot this. He has in fact spotted the storehouse though, so he will see those villagers down there if he looks at the map. We'll see if he's going to go after them anytime soon. There's this gold mine over here getting finished up by ShadowFax. And after he runs out of that, going to need a much, much stronger trade route, that is for sure. And then what do you do with these dwarves that you built earlier? I'm confused as to why we even built those dwarves. Just been building villages, and you can just make them all onto farms. But anyways, got a couple of units now moving down to the bottom point of the map as we see a military academy going up. Obviously want to put a stop to that. ShadowFax is playing the no wall variant of Age of Mythology, where you don't wall at all. Normally, we would see some top players here at this point in the game just walling everything, making sure that the whole map is unpassable, and then you wouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing here. As this military academy has not quite managed to get up here, and the Jarls will pick off these villagers very slowly. If 3antozz pays attention, he could probably shank these down and be okay. But he does have his entire thought process is going to be on getting back this town center or taking out this town center at this point, I would assume. As we do have great Jarls now coming through. That is the heavy cavalry technology. So they're going to be very, very strong, sitting at 225 HP here. And Hippolyta trying to retreat back as now ShadowFax is like, oh, better put those dwarves into my army now. I've got no gold left. So that's a thing indeed. Is ShadowFax still making villages? No, not making villages, making trade. No, he's happy with his trade route. Okay. I mean, once you're on 4 town centers, you do kind of want to go up to somewhere in the vicinity of like 30, 35 ox caravans when you're on that 4th town center until you have full upgrades. And I don't think that ShadowFax is close to full upgrades, so he should be fairly high on villager count, still gathering resources as best as he can. We see an attempted raid on this position as a fortress coming through. The Ulfsark going to be popping out of here, getting big damage done. 13.5 damage per second these Ulfsarks do here. But no access to Berserker Gang, so they have very little HP for a champion unit, as we do see more villagers coming in onto this position. Will he convert these? Not looking like he will, but see what he's going to do with those villagers there. As now we see the throwing axeman coming into this position. The Heliopolis here for 3antozz will be taking down the hill fort. And then maybe following up with taking down the fortified town center after it if you can. Villagers getting pulled off of the gold mine right now, taking out these throwing axemen very slowly, but they are indeed trying to. More Ulfsark coming out of this position here for ShadowFax. 3antozz probably still sitting at max population. Very difficult position to be in, but he is able to get his technologies out. So he's getting himself Iron Mail right now. And then I'm sure he's going to get himself the iron weapons afterwards, as those great Jarls still streaming in onto this position, finishing off this gold mine, disallowing it. But 3antozz shouldn't really care. He does go for a market over on this position. This is a decent market, but he is having to move through the wood line. So it's kind of not a straight line. You want your caravans to be going in a straight line if you can help it. So a market placed here would be a little bit more of a straight line to the town center. But that's being pedantic as ever. At least he put it on the corner here. At least he went for as far to the corner as you possibly can. And we do see this straight military academy here that 3antozz threw up did indeed get taken out. So that's good. And now we see the... Are we seeing ShadowFax able to get himself... It doesn't look like he is. He needs to get himself that champion cavalry and stat. But one Frost Giant should be able to finish off this fortress eventually here, as he's going to have to move over here and defend this position. Maybe some towers up here for ShadowFax to just make things a little bit easier, because honestly, the only way back in the game for 3antozz is doing exactly what he's going to do here, and that's spam guard towers up on this position. If he gets them up, absolutely huge for him, because it means that he can effectively go over the population limit in terms of damage on one area. As these villagers retreating back, going to see the guard towers get thrown up, obviously. 3antozz is a little bit worried that his gold mine is going to get taken out. These villagers are back over here onto this gold mine to try and finish it up. If we lose the trade route, we kind of lose the game if we're in 3antozz's shoes. He does still have that ability to go over onto the other corner here, so it's not the end of the world. It just hurts a little bit. As an attempt at getting up the guard towers here is underway. ShadowFax still very low on the gold income. He needs to just get more trade. He's really not got it. He's not making more, and it's just not it. You need a, like I said, how many does he have? We can do a quick count, maybe. Just a quick count. Just a quick one. Quick count. 22. 22 is not enough. I said 30, 35. Currently, he's got 25 population free, so they could all be trade caravans. And then he could get all of those technologies that he's so desperate to get. We do have that big polyphemus that you have to deal with there. It's good to not micro him down most of the time, but he's pretty fat, so you can kill him pretty quickly with hack style damage. He's got a little bit more pierce armor than hack armor from memory. There's the hill fort coming up slowly but surely on this position, but we do have a cheeky Heliopolis raid here from 3antozz. He's going to try and get in onto this and take this town center down, as we do see a random Drakkar coming through. One Pentecontra is here, but will end up falling. So ShadowFax still hurting 3antozz's economy here. And 3antozz actually cannot really afford this kind of damage. As over here, we don't see any attempted dock, I don't think. We've got a couple of longboats, though, that are out. They're still able to harass. And like I said, 3antozz needs every bit of resource that he currently can gather, and this is good damage done by ShadowFax. Now the portable rams coming through to take these guard towers out. I mean, arguably to push through these guard towers, you just kind of need to get Ballister, but I'm going to see these portable rams attempting to be used. He does have Dwarven Auger, actually, so I take it back. These are bad boys. These portable rams do a ton of damage. This doesn't feel like it gives that much. It gives 8 extra crush damage, and that might not feel like it's a lot. But when you also... oh, they don't deal bonus damage. I thought portable rams did bonus damage. Are they only doing 48 crush? It looks like they're doing more than 48 crush, if you ask me. But that might be because they don't do it per second. These animations are a little bit more than a second. Someone explain to me how the game works. It doesn't really matter. They still take the buildings down fairly quickly. 55-ish damage per attack. Right. So it must be like a 1.2 frame animation or something. Oh, and now we see the very, very smart wall getting thrown up here by 3antozz, but a little bit of a half-assed attempt at this. If he'd sent all these villagers that are on this gold mine over here to throw this wall up, he would have definitely got it up. And he probably doesn't need to get the wall all the way across here. He just needs to get the wall around this cliff here, and then around the back of the cliff, and then some towers down. But he's kind of given away that this is a problem for ShadowFax, and no sneaky setup there at all, as the Petropolis gets pushed back in this position here. The throwing axeman dealing little bits of damage here as the Heliopoli, excuse me, rolling in, trying to take down this hill fort as best as they can. Flight here getting cleaned up. ShadowFax still sitting at only 162 population. Someone explain, how do you get to 180 population if you are Norse? Is he building units out of everywhere? Still making more of those trade caravans. Just doesn't have the production yet again. This is the difference between... It's just the difficulty of playing Norse in a way. It's like, yeah, you can build buildings all over the map, but you have to be fighting the whole time. As opposed to Poseidon, who is like, well, I'm just going to build buildings all over the map. I don't mind. And we'll see if ShadowFax can continue to hold this. He has been completely pushed back here as 3antozz's economy and his army quality here is seemingly too much for ShadowFax to deal with. And he still has to worry about over here as well. We see some towers getting thrown up on this position to push off the wood line. We take a quick look at what the players see. Wood line here, wood line here. There was a wood line here, and there still is. And those wood lines are actually, I said it once in this game already, but they're actually really, really important resource gathering locations. Now, ShadowFax getting more Frost Giants out. This is a very, very necessary unit for the entirety of the game for a Norse player in this matchup. And this is why we very rarely see things like Bragi, things like Njord coming through. Because if you don't have the Frost Giant, you actually don't have a good answer to Heliopoli. You don't have a good answer to Colossus. And you just have to kind of manage it normally. But if you have the Frost Giant, those big units get frozen and then they become a waste of population for the 20 seconds that they're currently sitting there doing nothing. And you can defend very, very easily with those. As it's now looking like ShadowFax is getting back up to population. He's making more of these trade caravans. We've got some watchtowers coming up on this position here. Does ShadowFax have his upgrades now? It does look like he has signal fires now. And does 3antozz have the same? It does look like he does. He might even have... no, he doesn't have it. This is just towers that are giving him all of the line of sight. Same as the Frost Giant there gets bashed away. Always love seeing that. And now we see the Ballister coming in for ShadowFax. And Ballister are good at many different things. killing buildings isn't really one of them, or necessarily not killing buildings, but killing guard towers isn't necessarily one of them, because I think a lot of their shots miss the guard tower. Am I wrong about this? When we actually see him decide to target. If you try and kill off a wall, it does nothing. Killing off an archery range is fine. Does a whole bunch of damage to that. You see the guard tower getting taken down as ShadowFax still trying to push in, still trying to kill off these units, doing all the good stuff. So any attempt at this ever again? We just the wall's up. The wall's up over here. One watchtower gets denied. One guard tower is up for 3antozz. He is sending some villagers down to the bottom side of the map, trying to get some sort of a side build. So has a little bit of wood in the bank, but he can buy wood now. Buying wood is actually a very, very good part about this stage of the game. Having all of that gold in the bank, knowing ShadowFax doesn't, you can be the first one to buy wood and live the dream where that's concerned. And now ShadowFax at 180 of 180 population. And that's that Frost Giant taking down the Heliopolis here with that special ability. But the towers are kind of just going to finish off the Frost Giant, it seems. So Heliopolis lives another day. I see ShadowFax coming back in, trying to help out with his Fire Giant, but at this point it's seemingly looking like 3antozz is maybe spread a little bit thin. I'm not sure. We are seeing a wall getting thrown up, towers coming down. It's very, very hard to actually hinder this this trade route that ShadowFax has made, because there's not really a position in which you can block it. So it's actually a really smart trade route location. To block this, you kind of have to get in and wall it off this way and off to the bottom. There's already a tower here to deny that, so you have to get in and actually kill the market if you want to do that there. There's the army still able to push forward here for ShadowFax. And still, whoop, now we see those Petropolis coming in. The stone walls are up as the Petropolis going to try and take this down. You do not need to finish this wall up. You just need to put the wall up this way. We've said this once, we'll say it again. Wall up here. And then these Petropoli are going to be very difficult to kill, as we are now seeing more Paspis coming in, more Petropolis coming in. The Ulfsark's getting converted over here, trying to keep this location alive. No attempt to moving over onto that location. The trade route is now moving very safely through the bottom of that opening in the forest. Over here we see hoplites getting created, but they're going to get taken down quite quickly there by those throwing axemen. As this could be the turning point that 3antozz has been waiting for here, but there is no, there aren't really any units out to defend these Petropolis. A couple of those Ulfsark coming in will be able to deal with this, and a Ballista will be more than enough here, it seems, to put a stop to these Petropoli roaming in onto this position. So Petropoli make their way around the bottom side of the map, but like I said, one Ballista and you are golden. Over here, more hoplites are getting trained, and this defense that ShadowFax has mustered is maybe not going to be enough just yet, and he has been pushed back a little bit on this position, regrouping his army. Has he got full upgrades? No, he's still just on bronze, and 3antozz out of resources, it seems. ShadowFax has got a lot of food and gold in the bank. He should be investing in those extra upgrades. He's got Thor. Thor has that extra tier of upgrades we don't get to see very often. You get Thor's hammer. You get, what are they? Thor's hammer, meteoric iron mail, dragon scale shields. It's called Hammer of the Gods, not Thor's hammer, but all those extra upgrades come in very, very handy, and they do make that Norse army at the very least on par with the Greek fully upgraded army, but if not better where that's concerned. And now we see some Fire Giant coming in here. The tower going up for 3antozz as he's still trying to get some sort of security on this position. These trees over here getting chopped down. More archery ranges coming up for 3antozz. He's desperately trying to hold on. There is this weird position. This is like a very strange game because there's this very big gaping hole. As it took me 43 minutes to kind of work it out, even as an observer, there is a big gaping hole in 3antozz's position that should be occupied, and a very big weakness here for 3antozz. And if ShadowFax notices it and gets in there, it's going to be difficult for 3antozz to hold that and hold everywhere else as well. As we see the guard tower getting taken down, one lone Hippolyta here shooting the fire giant. Fire giant's going to be getting taken out here as well. One Ballaster still hanging back on this position over here. We've got some cavalry coming through to take down these buildings. They take a long time to kill those fully upgraded architect buildings there of 3antozz, as he's really distracting that population nicely. And we see the hoplite here getting taken out. Got the Ballaster rolling forward here. Guard tower going to get cleaned up as well. Now this army, like, whenever Norse players kind of realize that they just need to get walls and Ballaster towers up, and on these sort of fights where you're like, I need to push this position, if you get a wall or two up and the Ballaster behind it, then the Norse player wins the fights most of the time. You need Heliopolis to push back, and the Heliopolis lose to fire giants or lose to frost giants, and you just hold forever and live the dream. But some hoplites getting built over here. One hill fort coming up as well, as the militia going to start going after the trade route of ShadowFax. ShadowFax has now got plenty enough of these ox caravans, making some more of these longboats to take down 3antozz's food economy here is very, very nice. To hurt 3antozz's food economy means he's not going to be able to make those pesky Hypaspist as frequently. He is really, really short on resources. He might want to consider making farms at this point in the game, but it's a little bit difficult. Got Stray Drakkar coming at the top of the map as well. Given that you have the extra 40 population, you can really utilize it nicely here. As there's just so many fire giant. Now we got the dreaded fire giant Ballaster combo. Yes. Fire giant Ballaster. How do you stop it? It's so strong. It's so strong. We don't see ShadowFax with engineers for whatever reason. He obviously can't afford it at this point because he's got so many things queued up. But now we've got the Polyphemus coming in onto this position. You can target the Polyphemus down, to be honest, but the Polyphemus can basically one-hit a Ballaster because there's no bloody towers here. Let's see how much damage he actually does. Whack. Three hits a Ballaster. That's pretty crazy. But no walls means that's possible, right? If you have a wall up, it's fine. Keeps on walls until he builds one. It's just the only wall he's really thrown up. Well, he's got some over here now. Oh, and we did actually see an attempted wall come through by 3antozz onto this position here. This is going to throw off ShadowFax's trade route for just a little bit, and that might be enough to give 3antozz just a little bit of breathing room. He's going to continue to try and push in here. We do have people in the chat going, why can't Four Town Center Norse push 2 Town Center Poseidon? And the answer, I think, the big answer that I think is technology. Not having fully upgraded units means you're not trading effectively into your opponent. And not only that, but these are Greek units as well. So you do need to get those final iron upgrades and also Thor upgrades. But we'll see how it's going to go. But 3antozz still, he's not really made... Like, he has made an attempt at this, but he keeps giving up on it. Instead, like, yes, this wall here was good, but you just have to grab a handful of villages. A handful of villages, let's just say 10 villages. Well, he's already got 5 over here. And then throw the wall up around here. And then take the towers down. And then wall more. And then keep pushing on this town center. Because ShadowFax isn't paying attention to it at all. You do see a Hippolyta getting taken out here, and the Ballista trying to take out more towers. The 3antozz is getting thrown up. Big fire special ability there from the fire giant. Almost picks off all those villages. You see how many have just fallen there on that position. Do we have anything over here? We've got some Chimera raids coming in, but we've already got a lone legendary Jarl here to take this one down. Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure the legendary Jarl actually beats the Chimera at this point in the game with all the upgrades that he's got. Over here, the pacifist just trying to deal with a Huskar. How does the... Oh, he's got a tower. He's got a tower. I was like, how did that Huskar win that fight? Just fighting underneath tower fire. He's got a little helping hand. It's fair enough. You see the Chimera getting picked off. The army swinging back in here for ShadowFax. He's still just fighting this one area. Oh. Some Ulfsarks getting converted over here. Going to take down some villages. Nice. Can we just target the town center instead of this? See, there's this thing among... I'm not going to say top-level Age of Mythology players, but certain top-level Age of Mythology players where they just get hung up on one position and just target one position for the entirety of a game. They realize that this is the most high-value target, and they want to keep on attacking it, and attacking it, and attacking it. Now, if this was wartime, and you were like, look, I see there's an air base over there, I should kill that air base, but there's also this oil refinery over here, which is less defended. It'll do less damage to them if I kill this one, but I'm going to sustain less damage in attacking that. We should go kill the oil refinery first, distract them on this position so they have to come over and defend, and then reroute my attack over onto the airbase. Right? That's how things work. But in Age of Mythology, we haven't quite decided to use real life wartime tactics as 3antozz does decide to tap out here. But honestly, there was a complete, just a straight line into this location that was just not even thought of, not even occurred to ShadowFax here in this game. And 3antozz does end up losing after not being able to punish the recovery of that Ragnarok. But man, 20 minutes of this game as we get to the 50-minute game felt like it was just ShadowFax just beating his head against the brick wall, and eventually 3antozz crumbles because he can't be bothered playing anymore. And he does have a whole bunch of idle population over here. Does he have no resources remaining as well? Kinda. He's lost a whole bunch of his fishing ships, so he's kind of struggling for pop. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow button on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.